Okay, roll call.
Chisel.
Here.
Neal.
Here.
Carlson.
Here.
Luce.
Here.
Hadley.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Okay. Public comment, we have Northeast Iowa Community Action Corps report, an update by Tricia Wilkins. Gonna come up and, do we have to turn that microphone?
Is it on?
Yep,
All
it's
right.
on.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Tricia Wilkins with Northeast Iowa Community Action. I'm the executive director, and I like to come and present as often as I can at the council meetings to as many of the cities as what I can get to. Decorah supported our agency for many, many years, and in a lot of different ways, and so we certainly appreciate all that the city has done for us over the years. So I think you have the information already, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about it and also be able to answer any questions that you might have. As far as the funding goes, what we do with our cities is we just request based on a per capita amount. So it's based upon your population. It's $1 per person according to the data, the census data. And so that's why you're going to receive the request for a little bit over $8,000, $8,127. And what we use the money for is a variety of needs that we have. A couple of our programs have required non-federal match, and so we need to be able to come up with some local funds in order to be able to administer those programs. They include the Family Development and Self-Sufficiency Program, and also the Community Adolescent Pregnancy Prevention Program called CAP. And these programs are going to benefit clients within our entire 7-county service area, but it also is going to include those residents who live in Decorah. Our big need that we have with our funds is our administrative costs. For anybody that's aware with federal funds, there's never enough to be able to cover staff fringe indirect requirements that many agencies have. And so oftentimes, the foundation of our funds, called the Community Services Block Grant, it's what makes us a community action agency. We run short enough in that program to be dipping into our local funds sometimes a month to 2 months before the contract ends. And it's not like that every year. This year we've been fortunate, sometimes with COVID, additional funds and supplemental funds, but nearly every year we certainly face that need to do. And they're gonna cover our staff to be able to provide food pantry services in addition to the outreach. So those are the individuals. That program is going to cover the individuals that work out of our offices that are going to help clients that come in. Now we're doing it sort of like everybody is, electronically, per phone, per mail, process those applications for our larger programs like the fuel assistance program, crisis program, emergency type of programs. So those type of local funds are what helps pay for the staff that are sitting in those offices. I also included just some information for you, and it's pretty hot off the press. It's going to cover a time frame of August 1st through August 1st of 2019 through August 31st of 2020. And we pulled this data, and it's strictly for those who have a Decorah address. So it's not the whole county. It is just Decorah. So you can see the demographics. We served 197 males and 279 females. And it breaks down a little bit further into age groups, race, and then work status of individuals. The reason why we provide information about the work status is we really want to help people to understand that those who are in need of our services and those who need any type of services aren't always in the unemployed or underemployed category. Many of individuals who qualify for our programs are working full-time and working part-time. So that's why you see those numbers in front of you there. And we also have a lot of retired individuals that we work with and assist with our programs. So you can see one of our bigger programs is low-income heat assistance. Most have heard of that program. We served 176 households in that time frame just in Decorah and provided over $71,000 worth of assistance of federal funding for fuel assistance bills. And you can kind of go through the line or go through the line items. So in total during that period, our programs between federal funds, state funds, and private local funds have assisted individuals in Decorah of about $131,052 from our agency. I did specify the COVID-specific programs because we're pretty proud of what we've been able to do and how our agency has been able to respond. And so that's why you see those are broken out. We had additional federal ESIP money that provided emergency cooling for those who have a medical reason or need, and then some utilities assistance to individuals. And the one that might have a little bit more attention is the transit food and meal delivery program, where we had to shut down our routes. We had drivers available, we had vehicles available, and we knew people needed food, and they were fearful to come in to go anywhere, let alone, go to our food pantries. So we were able to assist 63 households in Decorah and delivered over 3,000 pounds of food to those individuals. So, and then we've also got the eviction foreclosure program that we work with the state. We're the administrator for that, and you can see those dollar amounts in which we provided that assistance as well. So that will cover what our needs are, what we utilize the funds for. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Questions from the council?
That the last thing that you mentioned, the eviction assistance, which program is that under? Would that be utility and rent?
It is, it's just utility for now. This is this was the governor's program that it's federal funding that the governor's office received, the state of Iowa received. And so it's through the Iowa Finance Authority. And so the funding is coming from that source. We're just the administrators. We process the applications, determine if they're eligible. And for this program, it is it's rent assistance is what it is. There is a mortgage assistance that's done by another agency. So it's just rent.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments from council members?
No, I just want to say thank you for your work. It's great work that your organization does, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Second that. Thank you.
Definitely, I can only imagine the difficulties.
Yeah,
for the
it was
people you
busy.
serve and how to work with your services in this pandemic time.
Yeah, it has been busy, but we've been fortunate. We've had a lot of support, so we appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you coming to us.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Human Rights Commission report, Melissa Cook. Is Melissa on? You will see she did provide a report that's in your packet and in the Dropbox. So I'd recommend you take a look at that. They've been very active. I think they're starting to get full capacity as far as the committee is concerned. I'll call one more time for Melissa, but I don't see her, at least not on the screen.
And I would just add that they do have a commission meeting tomorrow night, and the agenda's posted.
Okay.
And I wanted to request, in terms of their request of having persons outside the city limits on the commission, is the airport commission a comparable situation like we've done to have people on that commission, or is that outside the puree of what we can actually do?
Steve, I'll give you just my 2 cents, but I'll let John speak to it maybe if we're not putting him on the spot. But both the library board and the airport commission have provisions in state code to have non-residents appointed to their boards. In the case of the library board, I think it's by vote. And in the case of the airport commission, it's by county supervisor consent, which we received several years ago, I think. So those are the only 2 boards and commissions that I know of that are allowed to have non-residents.
By law.
Right, Steve, I agree with Chad. There's got to be a statutory authority to include anybody that is not a a city of Decorah resident or somebody who can vote in the city of Decorah onto a city commission or committee.
And Chad, have we communicated their request isn't really allowed?
Yes, and I think a couple of years ago, maybe even John and I attended a meeting and kind of talked through that a little bit, so we have communicated that. I think they're still making the formal ask.
Well, maybe before their meeting tomorrow, we could send them an email saying, unless the state law changes, we can't really allow what you're requesting?
We'll do so.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Proclamation declaring October 7th, 2020, Emergent Energy Efficient Day. It is in your packet. I'll read a couple of the whereases. Whereas energy efficiency continues to be the cheapest, quickest, and cleanest way to meet our energy needs and reduce utility bills for residential, business, and industrial customers. And whereas implementing energy efficiency and other clean energy policies and programs can help boost economic opportunities and job creation while continuing to move toward a sustainable future. And whereas Energy Efficiency Day, the first Wednesday in October, which is October 7th, 2020, is a collaborative effort of dozens of energy efficiency advocacy groups around the United States. I hereby declare that it'll be October 7th will be Energy Efficiency Day. Okay. And consider appointment to fill a vacant seat on the City Council, Ward 5. We had to do a little bit of work on considering the way we have done it in the past, and then also due to the pandemic. And so there's been some discussion on how to work with it. I'm going to establish the following procedures. The council will hear from each candidate in alphabetical order. Then the council will have an opportunity to ask questions of each candidate. After discussion and questions, the council will vote. When it is time to vote, I will ask the city manager to simply call the roll. No motions or seconds will be entertained. The manager will call the roll in a random manner, and each council person will simply state the name of the candidate they wish to appoint. A majority for vote of the council will appoint the candidate to the seat. The mayor shall not cast a tie-breaking vote. The council will vote in this manner until the candidate receives the majority vote of the council. That being said, I'm going to invite Tim Felton up. I'm going by the last name, alphabetical.
Good evening. Again, my name is Tim Felton. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for your time. I put in for the position of the City Council. I've always had an interest in government, and at this point in my life, I have the time to commit to that. Because I know being on the City Council is going to be a lot of homework and learning for me as an individual. If given that opportunity, I would also rely on the seasoned council members for advice, guidance, and history. A little about ourselves. My wife, Elaine, and I have both been residents of the city of Decorah since for over 30 years. We bought our home on Locust Road about 25 years ago. We have been there since, really like it because of the location in the woods, and plan on keeping Decorah as our home as we get near retirement age. Also, a little background about us. I worked for the county and retired a few years ago. Since then, I'm now working with Opportunity Homes as a skill trainer. I work a little bit at Montessori. I also work as a consultant for Northeast Iowa Community College and Northern Iowa Community College, and also a private contractor. I also work a little bit for Dare America, training and educating law enforcement officers. I guess the reason I would like to have the opportunity to serve is I spent my whole career in public service as a law enforcement officer for over 41 years. I enjoyed serving the public, working with the public, looking into solving problems, not just enforcing the law. And I see the opportunity maybe being able to serve on the City Council, expending that service into the future.
Thank you. I'm going to have you sit up here, and then after Steve comes up, then if they have questions, you're a little bit, you can just move the chair over a little bit, and then it'll be a little closer to the mic. Steve?
Thank you to everyone. I guess I will also thank Tim. I'm lucky to have him working with my son at Montessori, and I do think you all have a choice between two good candidates. That's good for the city of Decorah. I want to talk about what gifts I would bring and throw them out there for your consideration. I'm someone who has engaged in a lot of work with the Decorah Food Pantry, especially recently with its response to the COVID pandemic. The people who worked with me during that time will attest to you that I'm a careful thinker. I'm quick to take on different arguments, to listen to people with whom I disagree, and to come up with new projects. I'm a hard worker and a good listener. So I think those are important gifts because this being an appointed role, an appointed council position, and not an elected one, I don't think it would come with a mandate for whoever ends up filling the seat to aggressively pursue a particular agenda. I want you to know that I'm willing to do the hard work, the work of helping to administer the city. And so I guess the other thing I want to be forthcoming about is that even though I don't think it's like this is my chance to sort of pursue an agenda aggressively, I do think that I want to be open about the kinds of biases or special issues that are really important to me. As a not completely new, I've been here for about 4 years, but as a new resident of Decorah, the kinds of things that I keep returning to as things that I think that we could do even better, especially include our pedestrian access and safety issues. I say this as someone who commutes on our sidewalks and trails with his children regularly, and it's high stress sometimes. Sidewalks start and stop. Going with your children, on bikes, who are, they're just learning how to ride a bike right next to fast-moving cars. It's a bias that I'll bring to this council seat that we can do better. My other major issues are doing what this city can do to leverage its power to providing, getting people to provide more child care, especially for young children in the area. I'm interested in high-speed internet and how it can make Decorah a place where people who want to come and live here while telecommuting elsewhere can come and improve our economy and enhance our tax base. And I'm interested in I guess another bias I would say is that I think that we always need to be considering the bottom line in conducting the city's business, and I'll bring that perspective. I know from my work at the food pantry that for so many people in this city, a higher utility bill or a higher tax rate means that they're having to make hard decisions about medical bills, about their rent check. And so the last thing I'll say is that I know that there are people in Decorah who have concerns that I'm stepping up as someone that they view as a relative newcomer. I don't know how long you have to live in Decorah before you're not new. Mm-hmm. I suspect it's more than a few generations. I will say that I think that there is value to having a multitude of different perspectives in city governance. And an important perspective to have in city governance is a perspective of someone who's new to the town. Decorah relies on hundreds of new transplants every year to make our city work and function, and I would maybe bring a perspective that would be valuable in that regard. I want to thank you all, and thanks to Tim.
Thanks, Steve. I'm going to take the opportunity to just ask the first question, and then I'll open it up to the city council. I just wondered what your experiences has been with Budget Works. I believe that both of you maybe have been on boards before, but if you could just, or even like managing projects or whatever, but if you could state, actually, I'm always looking at the budget part, so why don't we go with Steve first, since he went first before, and then we'll go back and forth.
Sure. So, yeah, I've served and am serving currently on a couple nonprofit boards, the Food Pantry Board, the Board of Kinderhouse, which is a child care organization in town. In my past history, I've been a Lutheran pastor. I was a pastor at a church for 6 years, and it had a staff and a pretty large budget, not as large as the city of Decorah's. I also, prior to that, planted a church in North Liberty, Iowa, a Lutheran church. And in terms of managing projects, that's a project with quite a few moving pieces, I'm sure you can all imagine. and then growing the budget of that organization from the money that we could scrounge up from couch cushions up to, hiring a staff and eventually hiring a minister. So, I would say that I'm fairly well-versed in working with budgets and understanding them, and then also seeing projects through to completion. I saw tonight that being on the council is a lot of hard work, and, I'm ready to step in.
Thanks, Steve.
Yep.
Tim?
By working over all the years as a government employee, I had some involvement with funding and audits on the state and federal level. Also, since 2008, I have served on the Iowa DARE Executive Board, and that is kind of the governing body for DARE Iowa. And we also operate a budget of about $200,000 a year. That money is sent out across the state of Iowa to support the DARE programs, be they through police departments, which Decorah has had, so has the Sheriff's Department, where we purchase their T-shirts, their workbooks. We fund education, which I'm happy to say we're doing another one next week, and it does not cost any department any money to send their officers there, and I believe Dave is sending one of our Decorah officers to that training. So we receive that money through the Office of Drug Control Policy via surcharge through the Iowa Clerk of Court. And we regulate that money that comes into us. We equally send it out, and we also provide training for all the DARE officers. And that is one thing that, too, if I would bring to the City Council right now, is I have some real concerns where budgets will be next year. We just had a few of our budget meetings on the state, and the person on our board from the Office of Drug Control Policy has already talked to us again about possible tax revenue being down next year. So looking at on the state level is something I would consider being very cautious, again, with spending with the city of Decorah, within reason. And we just listened to our city clerk talk about different budgeting and fundings and those types of things. So some of those things I am familiar with because we are operating a government budget. I, like Steve, also am on a private board out of Cedar Rapids, which donates a lot of money to high school students through scholarships and things like that. So we regulate that budget as well. So I have a little bit of that operating knowledge. Thank you.
Okay, I'll open up to questions from City Council. Don't all jump in at once.
Try not to be jumpy.
Okay.
First of all, Tim and Steve, thank you so much for your applications. I really enjoyed reading them. It is commendable to both of you. Stepping into city government is not easy. Stepping in, in midterm is even harder. And I really appreciate the fact that you're willing, both of you, to serve. So thank you. I guess I have two questions. I guess I'll start with the positive one, which is, can you tell us a little bit about what you love about Decorah? And then what do you see as some of our challenges that we'll be facing ahead? And I know you both have mentioned budgets, but also just thinking about some of the other issues outside of money, which is always a struggle for all communities, that you could see some challenges facing Decorah ahead that we might need to work through as a council.
Okay, I think it's Tim's turn this time.
Your first question, and thank you. I always loved Decorah. Back before I moved up here, I used to bring my scouts up here. We would spend time canoeing, hiking, preparing for all kinds of activities, and always found it to be a warm, inviting community. The other thing which all of us would know in this room, it is a special place. I mean, it's just very unique, and because of that, we also, be it as citizens and our government representative, have a duty to protect our community, the environment. Yes, growth is important, but we do have to protect it. But what I like about it is our nature, also the diversity that we have. As Steve mentioned, we get people coming into Decorah from all over, which makes us stronger and better. And when I travel and tell people about Decorah, it's amazing because they think of Iowa as being flat. And I had a wonderful experience in 2008. We hosted the first state DARE conference here in Decorah. Luther was wonderful. We worked with Luther. They helped us put it on. But to listen to the people come from all over Iowa and say how great it was here. And those people golfing at Silvercrest couldn't believe the hills. And every time we go to a DARE conference in another city, they keep saying, when are we coming back? And since then, we've had it 2 other times. So we've had it 3 times here. So I'm passionate about Decorah. I love the people. I love the diversity. I love just the whole area for its beauty. Concerns that we have, certainly we talked about the budget. I think we need to look at growth economically. One of the things when I talk to people in different communities, different educators, is opportunity for a lot of our young people is not here. They move away to the larger areas. It'd be nice to have growth, but I also believe in my heart that we still have an obligation. Whatever growth we have, if we go out and look for other businesses, we still have to think about the environmental impact. We have to think about our little business people. So we're not going to be pushing anybody out the door, and that whoever comes to our community is not only willing to come here to make a profit, but willing to work with the citizens of Decorah to make sure that it's a win-win situation. And by being here over 30 years, I look back and I see a lot of controversy. And I'm not here to point fingers, and we look at a lot of the disputes over growth of Decorah. And I think we need to look at that. And again, not to point fingers, but to say, what can we do to make ourselves better so we grow and make everybody feel a part of that growth, feel successful with that growth as best we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve?
So I'll start by talking about the stuff that I do love about this city and this region. And I think it starts and ends with what makes us distinct from so many other towns of our size in Northeast Iowa. Compared to a lot of other places, we just are so lucky to be blessed with the natural setting that we have, the rivers and the bluffs that form our town, that provide us with so much in terms of recreation and enjoyment. That's something that my wife and I just greatly love about this place here. We also really love the fact that Decorah serves as kind of a cultural and I guess economic and medical watershed for the wider region. It means that there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of facilities that we have in town that most towns of a little over 8,000 people don't get to enjoy. That's something that we're lucky to have access to, and it's worth preserving. I have to say that I love our downtown. I love being able to walk down College Drive past a number of great businesses. I love going to restaurants, or at least I used to, right here in town. And I love the feeling of our downtown, and I think it's a rich asset, and it's one that maybe folks who aren't new to the area don't recognize how unique our downtown environment is. And so I would say that the flip side of a lot of those things that I'm passionate about also represent challenges, or at least working opportunities for the city of Decorah's government moving forward. Preserving and building on those unique strengths is worth doing. It's what I think is one of the particular callings of our city government, to build on our downtown, to make it more pedestrian friendly, more desirable and interesting for people both who live here and who come here to visit our city and hopefully leave their money behind. I think that we need to also protect and preserve, to the extent that our city has the ability to do so, that natural environment we talked about. Paying attention to not just the short term, like what's going to happen with flooding in Decorah over the next 10 years. Nobody knows that, but we do know over the next 100 years, this city needs to be taking very proactive steps to address flooding on the Upper Iowa River, and to make sure that we have a plan in place for that. I think that's a major issue. Taking care of our soil and our air and our water. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm passionate about pedestrian access, stress-free sidewalks and trails and paths for commuters, especially for young ones. And finally, I do know that a major issue facing this council in the next few years is the elementary school. That's an issue that I know we need to work on, and that's a challenge facing us. The need for new elementary facilities for our children.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Next question, if there are some.
Yeah, this is Ross. I just wanted to thank you again, both of you. It's wonderful to have two people that step forward that are interested and passionate about supporting the community. It's wonderful that you make it a difficult decision.
I totally agree. It's a treat, and it represents the good things that are going on in the town as well. If any other further questions? If not, we'll proceed with the vote. Hearing none, I believe, as I had stated, that the manager will do a roll in a random manner, and that each council will simply state the name of the candidate they wish, and city manager will tally it up. And I believe you're drawing names in order to have it as random as possible.
I'm going to ask our illustrious city attorney to draw the names, read the name on the ballot, and then that person will tell me who they cast their vote for, whom they cast their vote.
Yes?
No, I was just going to say, because we're just going to cast and say a name, I just want to say it is really tough. And I think please, whichever candidate, know that you're both, I think, excellent candidates for the position. And we have heard from constituents of Ward 5, and I really appreciate all the constituents and people who wrote in as well in support of a candidate. As a city council member, choosing a representative for a ward that I don't live in, it was really important to me to have the voices of Voice 5 come in, and I really appreciated that. So thank you to those people as well.
Thank you. Okay, John.
Hadley.
Zittigren.
Johnson.
Aye.
We need a name.
I know. This is a very difficult thing because
It's a tough one.
I know both of these gentlemen well enough to know that they are of the highest quality citizens and have had positive experiences with both. But I think in the case of replacing Johanna, I think Steve Zittergrun probably reflects the votes that she received in the last election to finish out her term.
Luce.
Zittergrun.
Neal.
Steve Zittigren, and I echo both what Kirk and Ross have said. Difficult vote, but I think Steve is who Ward 5, what I've heard.
Carlson.
First and foremost, I just want to thank both of you for putting your name in the hat and in the running. It's a very difficult decision, and I'm considering letting whoever doesn't get it move into my house and take my spot on the council. I think you both did a great job. And at this time, I'm going to put my vote in for Felton.
Chisel.
Well, again, thank you both for coming out. I know both of these gentlemen. I've had numerous interactions with both, but my vote would be for Tim Felton.
Okay, Steve Zittigren, 4-2. Congratulations, Steve. Thank you, Tim.
Just a reminder that that position is up again next year about this time. And Mr. Felton, we have many openings at times. I know where you live. I know, the respectability that you have in the community, and it would be great to have you to be able to serve any of these positions that the city has. So thank you for putting your name in.
We would consider that. Two quick comments. One, thank you, everybody. Thank you for what you do for our community. Congratulations, best of luck. And I have to make just a quick comment about the Locust Road project. And I really want to say nothing but great things about working with Chad, our city manager. He's been excellent at relaying information, trying to help get things coordinated with my wife's business. And I have to publicly say the Bruning employees are wonderful. They really deserve a round of applause because they too have been great in everything they've done. And, you know, sometimes we don't hear that, and I wanted to share that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for your time. Take
Thank
care.
Thanks, Tim.
Let's see, I think there's some little housework that has to be done.
Wanda will swear in the new candidate. New-
Where am I going?
You want to talk into this?
Yep.
Okay, raise your right hand. I, Stephen Zittergrun,
I, Stephen Zittergrun,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all duties of Fifth Ward Council
discharge all duties of the Board of Council person
in the city of Decorah,
in the city of Decorah,
as now or hereafter required by law.
as now or hereafter required by law.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I shake your hand, but
Yep.
I'd get in
Okay.
trouble.
Congratulations. I think you have to sign it.
I'm so sorry. I thought this was just like, I wanted to know what I said, so I was taking this copy home.
I'll take a copy of it if you
All
want.
right, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
And with that, you get to join us up at the table.
You can sit in the big chairs.
Pick one of the ones down there. And Chad will get the paperwork for you so that you can jump right in. And the microphone. Welcome very much. It's nice to have you here, Steve. I gotta just say one thing. For a long time, I just called him Dad. So when I got to be having his name on, it took me a bit to go, oh, yeah, I remember Dad. Okay, moving along. Public hearing on proposal to grant a consent agenda. Thank you. Thank you, Randy.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Mayor, you want me to read that?
Yeah, please.
All right, I will. Minutes of the September 21, 2020 regular meeting. Claims, Resolution 3128, a 2080 agreement for water connection, Freeport Water District. Renewal Class C beer wine license for Luther College Center for the Arts, including Sunday sales.
I'd move for approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Second by Hadley.
Roll call.
Chisel.
Aye.
Hadley.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Carlson.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Zittergrun.
Okay, now we're going to the public hearing on proposal to grant a perpetual parking easement to Decorah Woolen Mill LP in the city of Decorah. And some background on that.
Just a little background. This is the required hearing for a permanent easement agreement for the parking area just outside the Woolen Mill on the extreme east end of the lower co-op parking lot. The easement itself adds 2 parking spaces and better redefined spaces for ADA parking and the facilities dumpster on the south edge of that parking lot. This action was contemplated by the council a couple of months ago, but there were some legal changes proposed by Northeast Iowa Community Action in the agreement after the council had already acted on that. We had made those changes. working with their legal counsel and City Attorney Anderson. And because of the changes in some of the language regarding liability and maintenance, it was necessary to bring this back. And so at the last council meeting, the council set tonight as the public hearing as required, and then the resolution to approve. There were no other changes of note. So this would be the required public hearing.
Okay, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Consider Resolution 3129, approve granting a perpetual parking easement to Decorah Woolen Mill LP in the city of Decorah.
I'll make a motion for approval of Resolution 3129.
Second.
Motion by Carlson, seconded by Chisel. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Carlson,
Aye.
Chisel,
Aye.
Zittergrun, Hadley,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Luce,
Aye.
and Neal.
Aye.
Very good. Discussion and possible action on a recommendation for Decorah Sustainability Commission to implement provision ED1 from the plan, quarterly community meetings. I did have a long conversation with Jim Martin Schramm and become familiar with the goals that they've got set out. Obviously, with the study that they put forth, there's plenty of work to be done. But this is one of the items that they have recommended, that there are community meetings. He and I spoke. We were clear on whose responsibility it would be for the content of those meetings, but that Chad would continue to do the agenda and the minutes, and that the city can set up those meetings. The first one that they're considering concerns the COVID, and let's see, it was in August, there was a group that sort of was formed from the community focus groups of last year who got together, and the thought was that we wanted to make sure we were all on the page as far as schools and college coming in. We knew we wanted to get together again. And so we were thinking about in the November time period, and it would work great to partner with the Sustainability Commission this time as far as that meeting is concerned. Those meetings are an attempt to continue the community communication, so there'd be more people that could be invited to that, along with the ones we maybe have had. What kind of questions, or Emily, you're the liaison, maybe, I don't know if you have other information on that, or?
I don't. I guess I do want to, I mean, I realize I'm the liaison, so, but I do want to make sure that we're trying to figure out what I think the original intent of the quarterly meetings, when we designed them in the plan, was this idea of building up the Build a Better Decorah meetings that we had to build the plan. And there's been lots of talk about, well, what does it look like to have sort of the economic development team expand? And I know that we kind of started to try this meeting right before COVID hit. We had a lot of community leaders in the room. I think some of you were there. We met above Viking State Bank. And so I don't want to create another meeting just to have meetings. I want to make sure that we're meeting in order to sort of work through the sustainability plan in a way that's different than we're doing in other meetings that people are having. Just not wanting to tax. I know that, like, if we say Luther Hospital, business district, they're already having lots of COVID meetings. So that's the only thing I want to be cognizant of.
Okay, I know that when I was talking to Jim too, it was clear that this is the only one that would be of this nature, and the meetings that follow will be according to what might be coming from the commission. Okay, any other, we can go ahead and get something set up in November, and I can work with Jim as far as that, and then have it come through the City Hall. That would be a Zoom meeting. I think we have enough, what do you call it, participants that can be in on that you can make that pretty broad. So we'll let people know when that meeting will be happening. Okay, consider board and commission appointments. We still have one for the Communications Utility Board. I know we talked to Chopper a little about that, and hopefully there'll be somebody coming forward with that and maybe some information. And I think, do you meet this week? Tomorrow night, so. Okay, department head and council reports. Council reports on ordinance 1257, face covering. The only stats that I have right now from Krista Vanderbrink are there were 12 people in isolation, 1 currently hospitalized. Chad, do you have any other information to add to that?
I don't. On 1257, other than just to reiterate the last couple of meetings we talked about making changes to youth requirements per World Health Organization and making some changes to interscholastic athletics, and so those are still pending. And so I would just reiterate that the council would ask that this be on the agenda every week for just ongoing discussion and conversation, but that it might come back mid-November for possible changes or action. So Wanda had her hand up here. I think she had a question. Well, but the agenda item is discussion or possible action. So if they don't want to take any action tonight to set anything, that would be the action, would be to set a meeting, so.
I don't think you,
Yep.
no, I don't think there needs to be a vote on that.
Okay. So that would be my report on 1257, is just kind of reiterate past conversation. So I don't know if there's anything new. I don't have anything
Okay.
new to add.
Do you want to go ahead and give your report?
Yeah, and well, do you want the council to chime in? Anything else on 1257 before I move on?
Good.
Any other council comments on the face covering ordinance 1257 that you've heard since the last time we discussed?
I guess Luce is of the supportive idea that we go ahead and change the ages on the masking in line with the UNICEF and the UN's recommendation, the world.
I'd be fine with that. I don't see us, in light of what's happening nationally, I don't see us moving much else on this, but yeah.
Do you want to see it before November date? So in other words, the October 19th date, or do you want to wait until November?
I think October's fine.
I would agree.
All right.
Chad, if we change it, do we have to have 3 readings again?
You do. It's an ordinance amendment.
Does the policy stay in effect? I mean, the current policy stays in effect until we change it?
It would stay in effect until that amendment is published.
Okay, so essentially we wouldn't have a break in any policy. It's just we'd be publishing that
That's right.
new amendment. Okay.
And I think at one point of the discussion, I think we talked about November with the idea that if there was changes, we would be able to do that all at once. It's a little hard to determine if there would be anything, but either way.
Okay, Mayor, then just under my report, I just had a couple of things I wanted to touch on. I did send out an interesting video late last week regarding some pretty soupy soils at the airport as we go through a driveway entrance and parking lot rehabilitation project. It was pretty amazing. We walked on some ground that felt like walking on a waterbed. There was that much saturation in the soils. We have worked with the FAA, and they did agree to a change order to modify that soil, and we're moving forward with that work. Actually, I think they're looking at concrete at the airport even this week as well. There's going to be a lot of concrete in town, I think, in the next week to 10 days with Locust Road, Commerce Drive, maybe a little bit on Court Street, and then the airport as well. Of course, that project is normally a 90-10 FAA split locally, but because of COVID, the FAA picked up 100% of that project, and I think that means 100% of the change order as well. So,
Great.
yeah, pretty crazy, that video, though, if you saw that video, what was going on up there. Second, I just want to thank everyone that participated and helped coordinate the downtown assessment last week by the Downtown Resource Center. We had 5 downtown and urban design specialists in town for about 2.5 days and just talked to people, walked around downtown, looked at a lot of different dynamics of our downtown community, and provided a executive summary report out on Thursday, and we'll expect the full complete report in about a month. Some of their comments were interesting. 2 takeaways, I think, for me as we talked through that is that they believed that Decorah does not have a parking problem, that we have a parking management problem. In other words, from their perspective, it seems we have enough parking, but maybe we're not utilizing it the most appropriate ways. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of flesh that out a little more. And then I think the second big takeaway is that they were very impressed with a lot of our planning, our strategic planning, our goal setting, our concept documents and design features and things that we've done over the years. They were really impressed with the amount of effort that we've put into visualizing our community. But they said, now's the time to do something. We've spent an awful lot of time planning. Now's the time to get something off the shelf and actually implement it and do it. So, again, it'll be interesting to kind of look at their final report on what recommendations they have. So, and then finally, just for me, this week represents my 9-year anniversary with the city of Decorah. And I just, again, want to stress how much I appreciate the staff, the council, and the residents of Decorah and how they help me do my job. Thank you.
Well, that's nice having you here. Wanda, anything? Okay. Then I'm going to go. And then I'm going to go to the chief. Yes, you have one thing. Yeah? Something we talked about this morning. Something that takes place at the end of this month.
Oh, the trick-or-treating?
Yes.
Yeah, we've posted on Facebook as well as the Decorah Police Department's webpage, city webpage, that trick-or-treating is going to go on Halloween. And we just ask that if somebody does not want to participate, they keep their porch lights off. And those that are going out trick-or-treating, just respect those people that have a porch light off and don't approach those houses. And the hours we were looking at were 5 to 8.
And I believe that I had checked with Krista Vanderbrink, and she kindly sent on information from the Iowa Department of Public Health, most likely the CDC, and that will be on the police website, so that people have guidance as far as trick-or-treating is concerned, if they so desire to do that. So, okay.
Can we, in the communication about trick-or-treating, can we make sure we include information about masks and wearing masks?
Yes, I will look to see what's in there, but yes, very much so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I hope everyone's wearing masks. It's Halloween.
Ha ha ha.
I wasn't going to say it.
We did talk about, Dave and I did talk about that. The kids will all have masks on anyway, but not necessarily. Okay.
And I was also thinking people who put their light on too. I mean, it's not just the trick-or-treaters, but, oh yes, come to my door. Let me cough in your face. So yeah,
Yep.
we can encourage masks. That'd be great.
Chopper?
In the council chambers, we have new mics in with the basses, and the sound is pretty good. We are waiting for one more piece to be able to control the sound electronically through like Chad or my or Kristen's iPad and a controller box back here. So that's exciting. We keep making baby steps, waiting for these pieces to come in and moving forward. The other thing is the new 911 system is going to be implemented on Wednesday this week, so that'll be fun and exciting to get that up and running. And it's been a lot of work going into that by everybody. So
I want to thank Chopper for all the work that he's done to assist that 911 crew. It's a lot of technology, it's a lot of equipment, and it's a lot of fear that when you let one down and you pull it back up, that it's going to fire up and work the way it's supposed to. So thank you very much. Kristen, anything? Okay. Any other department heads? Andy?
I'll use this one here. I'll be short because I know there's some people waiting for another meeting here. But as you know, one of the capital improvement projects with the Park and Rec this year was to create a master plan with Carlson Park. And as part of that process, Decorah Parks and Recreation, along with Eric Dahl, a landscape architect from Jeffrey Bruce Company, hosted an open house at Carlson Park this past weekend. The goal was to let people walk around the property and leave thoughts and ideas on what they'd like to see in Decorah's newest park. We had a great turnout and gathered lots of information. If anybody couldn't make it over the weekend and would still like to share ideas, there's an electronic survey on the Park Rec website that I believe will be open for at least another week. So I'd also add that there is a mowed trail that loops around and through that property. It's about 2 miles long, and it's a great place if you're out looking for a new route or new park to explore.
Did you say a mow trail?
Mowed.
Mowed trail.
It's grass.
Thank you.
It's not asphalt.
Ammo. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, it's very nice. All right, I think we've done the departments. Randy?
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
How about you, Steve? Anything for you? That's not fair.
I think I talked enough also.
Okay, that sounds good. How about, let's see, what have we got? Kurt Johnson.
Nothing, Mayor.
Andy.
First and foremost, congratulations, Steve. Do you go by Steve or Steven?
I don't care.
Well, if you go by Steve, then we can call you Steve Z, because then we have a Steve L too. So now I'll have
No,
Steve
you
L.
you can call me Steven if it avoids confusion.
Okay. Well, congratulations. I think you'll do great. And like I said, I want to thank Tim again for applying, and it was kind of a win-win situation there for us, no matter which one got on. So congratulations on that. I think you'll do great. Chopper, did you do the microphones, the new microphones in the chambers?
Are in the chambers except for the one spot where I'm waiting for a mic to come in. That's at the Luther side of the table, but all other mics are in.
Awesome. They sound great. This meeting is 10 times better than it has been previously.
Awesome.
Court Street looks great too. A lot of projects coming together. Things are looking good. Yeah, nothing else to report at this time.
Okay, Ross?
The downtown group's visit was really interesting. I really appreciate all the members of the community that came out to participate in their question and answer sessions, whether it was at City Hall or when they were walking through downtown or up at Whalen Cabin and whatnot. I have to say the comment about the North Alley parking lot looking like a Kmart, 30-year-old Kmart parking lot resonated with me. Eric Dahl's team, when we did the visioning project, identified North Alley as a opportunity. We have the money left over, or money that we had bonded for the Alliant project if it didn't go through. I think North Alley might be a way to do it, and I'm looking forward to talking about that in a future work session, along with wayfinding. Their comments about not being able to find downtown Decorah coming off of 9 and 52. Or, you know, even if you're staying at the Fairfield Inn, you might not know that Decorah has a downtown. You might just know about College Drive. You know, if you didn't come in. So just the connectivity, getting people in from the west side, from the Fairfield area, from Highway 9, from Highway 52. Continuity and wayfinding, I think, is going to be really important. So we need to continue working on that. And Steve, Steven, congratulations. Your comments on sidewalks got me happy to have you join in that conversation. So looking forward to that. And I know we've got a fire meeting, so that's all I got for tonight. Thanks.
Steve Luce.
Yes, I wanted to say that I had a Cool Heart meeting with the ECLI and CCCC talking about sustainability and our getting an extern from Cedar Falls who work with Decorah to be able to help us put our measurements together and help move us on and help support the Sustainability Commission's work. I also had a phone call with Steve Gilbert, who is the principal for Rural Housing 360, and the efforts they have in terms of helping communities develop workplace housing, homes that are affordable and workable. And so he's sending me information that I would like to share with you all soon. And again, I want to thank for the work on Court Street. The gutters are gorgeous. The sloping of the boulevards up to the either side rather than a steep hill make a lot of sense. And I look forward to the rest of the work in Court Street and in the future. That's all, Mayor.
Thanks, Steve. Emily.
First off, I want to echo everyone's sentiments. Welcome, Steve, to the City Council. I'm so glad we have roped you in. And again, thank you to Tim. Some council member just said, like, it was win-win for us. So I think that's a good way to say it. I also want to give some snaps to Chad. 9 years is an accomplishment. And I can imagine being a city manager of Decorah, just being on city council, I can't imagine what being the manager is. So thank you for all of your work in the last 9 years. I'm going to echo that. Other than that, I know we have a rural fire meeting, but I want to just ask, I know that Michelle from Human Rights Commission has joined us here.
Melissa.
Oh, Melissa, sorry. And she has asked if we can circle back around, but I don't know what the protocol is because I'm still a newbie. So I'm going to claim that.
I wonder if I mean, she has a substantial report. Might we put her on the next agenda so that?
Yeah, sorry, Mayor, that's kind of the problem is there's a conflict with Mondays for me right now with with everything. So that's the problem. And actually, I was thinking, you have the report, so I could just ask the two things. I think I can do it in like a couple minutes.
Okay. Yeah, if you can do it real quick, because we got people that are looking for the next meeting. Yeah,
that is fine. Thank you. Sorry that we didn't know that I was on or something. So anyway, I think it was a technology glitch, but I'm here. I've been here. So this is the Decorah Human Rights Commission report for the year. And the main thing, I'm just going to let you guys read everything else. The one request that we had was members at large positions. So the two big things that have happened is there are looking at who can be on the commission, having it just city. We had a lot of people interested who didn't qualify. Basically, they have Decorah addresses, but they aren't in the municipality. So two of those community members, Charlene Bohr and Clara Mugli-Toiloy, have joined the DHRC meetings unofficially since mid-2019 and representing Northeast Iowa Peace and Justice Center. Charlene's the executive director of that. And then Clara Mugli-Toiloy has represented the Collective Action for Racial Equity CARE group. She's one of the co-founders and co-leaders of that. And it's just been an amazing connection, and the things that we've done, you can read the report and see some of the connections that have happened throughout the year. But having these two members at large, kind of I think the library does something like this too, would be really helpful now for these two people to join us in those capacities. And I can see into the future too, having people from the rural Decorah addresses be able to at least have a voice, if not a vote.
Hey, Melissa?
Yeah.
We talked about that a little bit.
Okay.
And I believe John gave a reply as far as that was concerned, as far as the regulations for commissions being in the city proper.
Yeah.
Yes, Melissa, we talked about there has to be a statutory authority to place non-city of Decorah residents on a city commission such as this. And we discussed there are a couple of boards that by law allow or require out of city limit members, but a human rights commission is not one of those. And maybe, I don't know why that is, perhaps because the county itself would have the option of having a human rights commission. That's not to say you can't have people come to your meeting and voice their opinion, it just wouldn't be an official vote.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, and then you had a second item?
So the other one was just drawing your attention, I think, to the all are welcome stickers. Those are something that are going to be going up, and I think Chad included the actual graphic in there, so if anybody had any comments, just to let me know.
Okay.
That was it.
Thank you very much, Melissa. I appreciate your hard work.
Yeah. Sorry about the confusion.
That's okay. That's okay. Any other matters to come before the council? Hearing none, we'll close council meeting. And Public Safety Committee meeting will follow. We have just a couple minutes and then start. Emily will be coming in via Zoom, so we might have to just make some adjustments. So we'll just kind of work with that.